Alright, I wanted to talk about the engineer now. If all you care about is the meta build, here you go, pause and copy it. And if all you care about is the weapons, I actually don't think the explosive bone breaker is all that good. Hot take, I know, but the 144 ammo capacity and faster fire rate actually hurts this gun. You have enough AoE and enough damage per shot that you kind of just don't care. I would rather start with the explosive white shotgun because it doesn't cost any more. It's better for operational budget. And then just save until I can afford the Vulcan or a G33. But you can honestly just rock you. The alternative thing you can do is go white explosive starter shotgun and then go into a fully built explosive bone breaker, and you can kind of just rock two of these. That will work as well, but in multiplayer, hell on earth, every single time I've tried that, I've just ran out of ammo. If you're like the top #1 killing guy, you will just run out of ammo doing that. You kind of need your teammates to kill heavy Zeds for you. You can also start white shotgun, go for Vulcan, then go back and grab an explosive bone breaker. I just think the explosive bone breaker is severely overhyped because its lack of ammo is a pretty big problem. I've never... Like, if you're getting less kills than I am, I'm sure it's not a problem. But if you have to, like, hard carry and do everything, it's just, you know. You can circumvent that. I will give a special shout out if you're going to buy ammo bags. That can also completely circumvent the problem. Then it's really, really good. And I'll talk about why that is in a second. In fact, right now, because that's our first passive. So, getting a maximum of 32 armor every round for using your tool is pretty nice. But you know what's even better than that? Free tools. So, killing an enemy grants a stack of tool up. At 88 stacks, you lose the stacks and gain 1 tool ammo. Now, something you need to understand about this is that every single tool is different, and it's not just the multi-tool. So here's just a PSA for people. I know it says tool, but all of these things are tools. You can see right below their name, they're tagged as tools. There's a lot of people who think that the engineer is supposed to be using the multi-tool. I actually don't agree. I think you should not use the multi-tool on the engineer for the first 3 to 4 waves minimum. Because really, what the fuck do you need a tool for on wave 1? Yeah, I guess you can open up the armor containers, but then you're just hoping people aren't stupid and wasting them. There's 2 issues with the multi-tool. One, in multiplayer, everyone's going to be bringing it anyway because they're sheep and they think it's the only thing worth using. So you don't really have to worry about having it. 2, it gains tool up stacks at the lowest rate. You need 88 kills for it. Well, you only need 44 kills for ammo and syringe bags. So let's say you start wave 1 with 2 syringe bags. You place them both down, you get tool up, and then you place down a third one. Okay, that's 3 syringes for like everyone for free. Then wave 2, you buy an ammo bag. And then with tool up, you place down 2, if you're really good, maybe even 3 ammo bags down. And then in wave 3, you buy another ammo bag, and then you place down 2 more because of tool up. Okay, well, you've generated like 6 extra bags that everyone can benefit from just for free. And even if like you're entirely selfish minded, you can just store those bags until you personally need it. So I mentioned how the explosive bone breaker, it's really fucking strong, but it just doesn't have enough ammo to chew through 400 Zeds. Well, if you've got 5 ammo bags on the ground sitting behind it, yeah, now it can. I definitely think this is way stronger than this, but I can understand that at the lower to intermediate level, this is more appealing. Because it's more of a strategy you see later on with people like pre-placing bags and saving them and storing them. It should be relatively obvious, but I suspect it will take months for people to start doing that, and probably years for just everyone to start doing that. So this row of perks is kind of shit. I don't know why it's not showing me. Okay, so weapon penetration power is just kind of bad. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't really understand this stat. I've tried to experiment with it, and I have no idea what the breakpoints are. Sometimes for some weapons, just adding like 5 penetration power is enough to penetrate an enemy and hit 2 things per shot. And then sometimes I'll put 20 on like this and it won't penetrate at all. And do you know what makes this like so much worse? Just completely unprompted. Let's buy this shotgun and look, with all this penetration power, the shooting range is bugged. Either the shooting range is bugged and penetration power just doesn't apply on these things, or penetration power is so dog shit that an unlimited amount of it doesn't pierce through anything. So, I don't know. Thank you, Tripwire. You definitely put a lot of care into this game. So, you end up taking this, deal 25% increased weapon damage and 50% weapon stumble to nearby enemies. Nearby counts as 10 meters in this game. And... sorry, I don't know what that was all about. So, this is slightly better, I believe, than 35% weapon damage on the first hit. Because the problem is the first hit is just that, the first hit. If you do 2 hits with 25% increased damage, you're getting more damage than this is giving you. Also, this doesn't really help you hit any breakpoints. Now, I haven't tested it super extensively, but I'm like 80% confident that this does not mean you need to spend 1 less Vulcan shot on like a Flesh Pounder or Scrake. You need like 3 charge shots and 1 light shot. Maybe with a specific combination of bonus abilities. If there's a certain combination of bonus abilities plus this that takes a shot off of a Scrake or Flesh Pound, then this kind of becomes worth it. But until that is discovered and consistently repeatable, I would say just go with this, because at least you can benefit from this more than once. It's especially useful for bosses, which are technically the most dangerous things in multiplayer. Obligatory movement speed perk is obligatory. You just take this on every single class and you don't even question it, because with any increase to movement speed, you can't get hit by enemies because you're faster than them, so, you know. 50% armor integrity is nice, but the secondary effect is literally useless. This isn't like Darktide, where getting grabbed is like a death sentence. Nah, in this game, you can't even take damage while you're grabbed. You just press a button. You just press your melee button, and the grab is over. Yeah. So, would you rather have 50% armor and immunity to the least threatening thing in the game, or the ability to take no damage for 3 seconds every time you get a kill? Yeah. I'll let you decide that one. Shotguns have +5 pellet count. This would be pretty good if any shotgun was worth a damn that wasn't using slugs. So slugs do this right here, where they convert all pellets into 1, and adding pellets doesn't like make the burst bigger. So let me go armory, and you can see how it says 1 burst shots. I don't know. This is literally written in the most retarded way possible. What it means to say is 1 pellet per shot, because that's what a slug is. Adding pellets doesn't do anything. And you can see if I go here, do this, it's the same. There's not even like, you know, if this shot like 5 extra slugs, it would probably be legitimately game breaking. So the only thing you can really take is full blast. Explosive weapons get 60% increased radius, and you take basically no self-damage from explosions. This is really good for a multitude of reasons. 1, G33, Vulcan, Bonebreaker. All 3 of those are explosive weapons, and those are like the top 3 weapons in the game. Second off, taking less damage from explosions synergizes greatly with Scrap Heap. I'll talk more about that when we talk about the throwable. And then, Rally is the only obvious choice here. Everything else is just kind of shitty, but we'll talk about the other ones first. Taking damage increases weapon damage by 35%. Taking damage is just about the worst thing you could be doing at any given moment, so that's the thing that you want to minimize. The best players will take the least amount of damage, which means you'll get the better you get at the game, the less good this perk becomes. I don't know why that's a fucking thing, but 5 seconds is nothing. If this was like 30 seconds, if this was like 50% weapon damage increase and it lasted for like 30 or 40 seconds, I could see the argument that the skill ceiling of the class is try to relegate taking small hits in as many small intervals as you can, and then using your sustain perks to not actually feel that damage at all. But no, that is not even a play style they've considered, because literally nothing in the game works like that. Which I don't know why, by the way. That Martyrdom style is really fucking strong in Darktide. It's really fucking strong in Vermintide. And there is a dedicated audience to people who like that kind of stuff, like me. The pace the damage you take to get stronger type of thing. This totally could have been a linchpin for that, because this guy has a lot of tools to support that kind of thing, but Tripwire is just not a good development studio. And Chain Reaction, hey, designer at Tripwire, I don't know if you need to be told this, but the only reason people take this perk on Firebug is because the other two perks literally do nothing for the weapons that you want to be using, unless you're doing like the Kunai Bash exploit thing. So like, outside of that, that's the only reason people are taking this. Making this a dedicated perk when it has to compete against something like Rally is just retarded. So Rally is every kill grants a stack. At 15 stacks, which by the way, in multiplayer, literally nothing. You will be dropping one of these like every second, almost. Like legitimately, you will be dropping this like every 10 seconds at a minimum. Because you're shooting all these explosive AoE weapons that have an AoE insta-kill on trash mobs. But then, this one's really crazy. So it lasts for 20 seconds, and it makes you and all your teammates deal 25% increased damage. To put this into perspective, that one perk single-handedly makes Engineer potentially the best class in the game. Because Commando, 30% weapon damage for yourself, 30% weapon damage for yourself, 35% weapon damage for yourself, 25% weapon damage for yourself. Like, I could just go to all of these classes, just 20% headshot damage, 25% damage for yourself, 30% damage for yourself for a weapon type. Like, 25% is like some of the highest damage increase a perk can give, and the fact that it's giving it to 6 players instead of 1 is ridiculous. And the fact that the requirements to proc this is basically just blow up 2 or 3 spawn groups. There's 400 enemies in waves like 3, 4, and 5 on Hell on Earth multiplayer. So you need to kill, legitimately, like, 2% of the wave. 2 or 3% of the wave to drop one of these. It's absolutely a non-requirement. Okay, now let's talk about the throwable. So something else I want to say. The reason why sticking with... I probably should have gone over this when I was talking about the weapons. But the reason why it's such a good, like, idea to stick with the starting shotgun is, one, the starting shotgun has a lot more damage than the Bone Breaker, which means the starting shotgun can deal with heavy Zeds more efficiently, not necessarily quicker because of fire rate differences, but more efficiently than the than the Bone Breaker. And 2 is this right here. So this, well, I have to change my skill to show you the... So, right. The Engineer's Grenade is really good. Every single one of those little Seeker drones will kill light and most of the medium Zeds, like Gorefast and stuff. So, the fact that you get unlimited of these, the way that you want to play this guy in the early waves really comes down to using Proximity Mine and just throwing this, like, let's say that's a spawn area. Throw one on the spawn area, and then look at the other spawn area and shoot it with your explosive shotgun. The explosive AoE will instant kill everything that's spawning, and then that will go off whenever enemies actually spawn, and it will kill them. And then, with that will give you the ability to spawn kill 2 spawn points for the entirety of the first wave and 90% of the second wave. So you could honestly rack up more kills than anyone else. And because you get scrap, the grenade lasts forever. So by wave 3, you haven't really spent any money or anything. And by the way, while you're doing that, farming all those trash kills, while you're farming those trash kills with the scrap and the explosive shotgun, this is constantly racking up, which means you should be dropping at least one extra free deployable bag for everyone to use. That's where this class starts getting really strong, where you start snowballing all this stuff together synergistically. And then, so let's talk about these now. These having penetration, who gives a fuck? This doesn't do anything. Knocking enemies down with the fragmentation shrapnel, literally just look at the overview video for this and tell me how good this is. So the initial explosion knocks a lot of things down, but then it's like, that's a crowd of like 20 enemies. Only like 4 things are actually getting knocked down by this. Dude, even in the unrealistic perfect scenario that the video presents you, this doesn't look good. That's how you know a perk is real trash. So the only valid option is proximity mine. This makes it so that the grenade only blows up when enemies actually walk next to it. And by the way, you want an example of what I'm talking about? Look at how many things die in this preview video. There's a crowd of like 20 clots here, and only like 7 of them are left standing after it. So he kills what, like 13 clots just with this one mine. Yeah, compare that killing power to this crowd control power of knocking down like 3 extra enemies, and it's a complete fucking no-brainer. Just throw this at spawn points with the timer. Whenever that activates, you know they've spawned, and because every activation of it gives you a free one because of scrap, yeah, you can see the loop here. Increase the amount of fragmentation projectiles by 6. This is really good because more projectiles means it's better at killing trash, which is really what these grenades specialize in. Whereas this, the frags doing double damage will make them do more damage per throw to bigger enemies. But you're not really throwing these at bigger enemies now, are you? You know? The fact that you get one for free really does change everything about this grenade. It kind of relegates it specifically to the trash killing role. So, deal heat damage is good. That definitely makes it even better at killing big Zeds. And giving them another 100% projectile damage increase is also really good. Like, if you use this and this, they're actually not terrible at killing big Zeds. The problem is, when it comes to killing big Zeds, well, you have an explosive shotgun that deals 1,000 damage on a headshot. You have an explosive AA-12 that deals like 700 damage on a headshot. You have this fucking thing which deals like 2,000 damage on a headshot once you get if you charge it up and you get all your teammate perks and stuff. So you just kind of have better ways of dealing with bigger Zeds than wasting a $200 grenade on it. Scrap is obviously the best option. I don't even know how you could justify taking anything else. So 20 seconds to pick up the grenade that you just threw and get free grenade. Every single time you pick up one of those scraps, you are picking up 200 dosh, by the way, which is the equivalent of like 20 more kills. Every single time you pick up that green scrap, that is 20 kills worth of value. On top of, let's say you kill 10 things with the grenade, and that's 20 stacks of this, 20 out of 88. You just generated, with this perk and this perk, throwing one grenade generates 200 dash of value by giving you a grenade for free. It generates about another like 200, or I'm sorry, it generates another 100 or so dash of value in the money from the kills that you got from the grenade. And it generates like another 90 dash of value for giving you a quarter of a tool back. So this perk single-handedly makes every grenade have the price efficiency of like 500 free dosh or something ridiculous like that. This makes commandos buying weapons for cheaper perk look like even more garbage, which, by the way, that perk is already bad. And the other perk, Bouncing Betty, launches a second set of shrapnel. Who gives a fuck? Okay, do you know what's better than one grenade launching a second set of frags? just throwing a second fucking grenade. Because, right, look at this, right? I just want to show you something so we're all on the same page here of how bad this is. Okay, I just want to make sure we all truly understand how terrible this is. So you have 4 of these. That makes your grenades blow up as if you were throwing 2 grenades. Well, you know what else you can do? Okay, you see that? You see that? Now look. Oh, look at that. Hey, look, it's the exact same effect. But wait, do you know what makes this so much better? Oh, look, now I can throw them a 3rd time. Wow, look at that. Now I can throw them oh, wait, I can throw them a 4th time. I don't think anyone is dumb enough to genuinely not take this and take this. Okay, now let's talk about the gadget. While bunkered, you move 30% slower, but projectiles deal 30% increased damage. Dog shit. Absolute dog shit. So his gadget is honestly fucking terrible. I remember, like, in the original beta, it was the worst gadget in the game. It was so bad, the best way to use it was just activate it and immediately end it to get your energy back. So moving slower is a death sentence in this game. You really cannot afford to be doing that, especially against, like, bosses. And a 30%, this is not an equivalent exchange. 30% damage is not worth 30% of your move speed. I would say 30% of your damage is worth maybe 5% of your move speed. Maybe 10% if it's like 30% Vulcan damage. But you have to remember, if you move even just 10% slower, especially with heavy weapon move speed like this, literally everything in the game on Hell on Earth can not only catch up to you, but they can catch up to you in like a second or two and immediately start applying damage. And yes, I know you're supposed to combo that with the 70% damage resistance, but do you know it's better than that? Just not getting hit in the fucking first place. Movement speed while bunkered is increased to 130% base move speed. This perk is automatically better than this perk because, like I said, 30% move speed is not worth 30% damage. Move speed, this is how I know the people that made this game have either no experience with this genre of game or they're just really fucking bad at these games. Movement speed is objectively, like, this is not a matter of debate, more valuable than damage because an increase to your movement speed means that you cannot take damage. In Darktide, the dueling sword and the combat knife are unarguably the 2 best weapons in the game. And do you know what they both have in common? They have a modifier that increases your movement speed by just 5%. On top of having an insanely good damage profile. But, and this is something that a lot of people will tell you that are really good at the game, myself included, if you gave that plus 5% movement speed modifier to a lot of weapons in that game, then they would automatically close the gap and be almost just as good as the very best 2 weapons. Just a small increase to movement speed can completely break a video game's balance, because your movement speed versus the enemy's movement speed and their ability to damage you is what determines how long one person can go without taking damage. This is a bigger game design topic in general that's probably worth its own video, but movement speed is one of those things that you need to be incredibly careful with. Like, for example, if you take this perk and you take this perk, you're now moving at like 70% movement speed while your ability's active. So you can run around in your ability faster than, like, Ninja. And it just completely is just nonsensical. Enemies, like, have to teleport to keep up with you. Which isn't even really a thing that they do in this game, so they just can't keep up with you. However, because his gadget is shit, and you already get movement speed from another node on the tree, there's no reason not to take this. Activating the ability restores 40% of your armor. I know it's not 40%, but unless you're some kind of psychopath and you're taking this perk, it's just 40%. Because 40 of 100 is 40%. For the people in the comments that are going to disagree with me about that. Yes, those people actually exist. I just delete those kind of comments. So, this is a shit ton of sustain. Because you can use this and syringes to get your health sustain. And this gives you your armor sustain. So all you need to do is just pop into the ability and immediately end it to get like 30% of your energy back. You could use it if you want, it's just not very good. So honestly, one of the best ways to use this ability is activate it and then leave it and just do that to restore armor. If you are gonna use it though, I guess we should talk about that. The projectile size is better than this because of very simple math. So let's talk about this first. Projectile size increasing just means you hit more enemies, which is whatever. This actively makes the skill worse. So, Soundwave projectile size and damage is decreased by 25%. But fire rate is increased and ammo is increased by 5. Okay. Now, that sounds like a trade-off, right? You shoot faster, you shoot more shots, you have more ammo, but each shot's less impactful to make up for it. Wrong. Let's just do a very simple back-of-the-envelope calculation. You start with like 10 ammo in this thing. And let's say each shot does 100 damage, just sake of the argument. So that's 1,000 damage. Well, if you take 25% of your damage away, you subtract 250 from that. So now your base 10 shots only deal, right? You see this? Your base 10 shots only deal 750 damage. Now, if we add 5 more shots, we add 500 to that, which barely makes up for the 250 we took away initially. And now we're only gaining like 250 extra damage. So our total damage per use has barely moved. And it now takes us longer to access that extra damage, the little extra damage we've added. This is like spending a skill point to make the skill worse. And you see that energy refund for ammo remaining still caps at 40 maximum. So, like, you can't even, like, take this and then take, like, this and, like, use it to cheese the energy and get, like, 60% energy back so you can spam this harder. They, like, specifically curbed that bit of technology. We talked about why penetration is garbage. I've never even noticed these not penetrating things without this, so I literally don't even know what this does, and I've tried to extensively test it. The equip explosion radius increase is cool and all, but nothing can compete with this. Damage resistance while ability is active, or as they call it, bunkered, is increased to 70%. And anything that does damage you gets immediately crowd controlled, which is whatever. Okay, so the reason why you kind of have to take this is honestly very simple. If you are going to do something like this, where you just take a bunch of ammo, you could grab this and just equip it and immediately de-equip it. Though they kind of nerf that playstyle into the fucking ground. So sometimes you might as well use it in the early waves to save ammo. Basically, if you actually want to use the class ability, then take this because you have to. Otherwise, you'll just die every time you try to use it. Or you can just grab these two, and this ability only exists as a free use AoE armor restore. Which, honestly, I could probably see this being better. But we're trying to, That's why we cover all options here. Pick whichever one you'd rather do. So, using a tool restores gadget activation energy up to a maximum of 56 each round. This just further synergizes with Tool Up, which further synergizes with the free trash clearing of the grenade. I don't really know what else to say. This just now amplifies the loop to give you your ability to give you armor back. So that's cool. And then the other one increases the ammo by 6 and the maximum duration. You don't care about the maximum duration, but the ammo increase is kind of nice. It's just kind of nice. I don't know what else to say, honestly. Nothing competes with just getting your gadget back to re-proc this, though. It's this is also an armor restore. This isn't. Well, there you go. This perk hurts my soul. Sonic Storm's fire mode is changed from semi-auto to charge fire. and you hold down the button for at least 0.5 seconds, which is fucking nothing, by the way, and the projectile's damage is increased by 70%. 70% is a lot and actually makes this thing worth using. The problem is this perk makes this ability so fucking clunky to use. Charge anything in this game, including the Vulcan, feels like dog shit. Whoever made the shooting mechanics for charge weapons in this game should unironically be ashamed of themselves, because it is embarrassingly bad. You start the charge, anything interrupts it. Now you've got to click like 3 times for the charge to start again. You click once, oh, well, you were actually still in an animation, or there was still something queued up that prevented the charge from being the immediate next action. This game has a really annoying queue system as well. Let's say you click dodge and charge at the same time. Well, dodge has to get queued and activate before the charge starts activating. So you dodge and charge at the same time, and nothing happens. So then you got to click again for the charge. But you don't know if that's going to start the charge either, or if the slide you just did is going to interrupt that as well or something. So you spam click it like 3 times, and then, oh, what do you fucking know? The charge started on the second click, and you immediately clicked off it. It's just... there is so many little annoyances that come up when you use charge things in this game. Even though 70% is a ridiculous amount of damage, every single time I tried to use this, I was in a situation where I would shoot the charge shot, try to shoot another shot, but have no fucking idea when I'm allowed to start charging again, so I spam click to get the charge to finally start and end up not even getting the charge in the first place. I'm sure for the average person, that's not a problem, because they're just clicking and playing much slower than I am, so it's less of a problem. But at that point, you're losing so much uptime if you're that slow that you're always getting it, that this also kind of just becomes not good. If this was made to be consistent and not shitty feeling, I would say to use this. However, confusion is an insane status effect. Look at this. Shoot the flesh pound 1 time, and for like the next 7 seconds, the flesh pound is no longer an enemy and is running around one-shotting everything that isn't a flesh pound or a scrake. That's pretty fucking good. The only way this could have been better is if it said apply enfeeble. Reverb pedal is nice. If you wanted to do something like this with the lower fire rate, like you just want the equip radius, the fire rate, and then you're just doing it to spam reverb pedal, and you're only doing this so you can get your armor, like, I would say this is just as valid a way to run as this is. But, yeah, I think that covers just about everything about this class.